Hello, good morning, and welcome to the final edition for this week of the Star Good Morning Show here on Star TV channel 21. I am Leonora Jawara, and today's inspirational quote is an African proverb. It says, "If beard signified intelligence, the goat would have been a genius." While stories we shall be looking in the program today, the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, supported by the European Union and Irish Aid, has held a validation workshop on the revised anti-human trafficking legislation aimed at improving human trafficking legislations. The Director of Legal Affairs Financial Intelligence Unit, lawyer Abdallah Sissay, has said that the country stands to benefit hugely from its international investment portfolio, given the favorable outcome of the mutual evaluation process. The Legacy Empire has embarked on the feeding of 1,000 children at the Kissy Town community in Waterloo. These stories and more coming up shortly. And with me in the studio is Mohamed Lamranaba from the Strategic Communication Unit, Ministry of Information and Communications. We shall be discussing a whole lot of issues this morning. Good morning, Mohamed Lamranaba, and welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having me. Good morning to you.
All right. Also is Alfred Mika Bendu from the National Youth Caucus. He will be talking to us about their upcoming event, the Sierra Leone Brain Box Competition. Good morning, Alfred. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, I'll be back with you guys shortly. But first, let's have a message from our sponsors.
Give me money.
Want money?
Give me
Okay,
money.
I'm gonna tell you now. What are you house?
Can't give me money. What's kind of bad stick this guy? What's enough for putting money again? You don't have to can't take her. Why you for the shaft me bad safe? Auntie Jojo.
Mama, how you doing?
Tell her thank you. I don't come on a bank. What you make you face this one?
That's all that man. Hey, Gapi can't take me money, don't go. But why don't tell her say they can't give me money if it's not you?
Hey, Auntie Jo. All tell when me can at this society needs. If man take you money loss. You know don't hear about financial inclusion? Where local commercial bank they make everybody, no matter how you turn, no matter the kind of business where they do.
Financial waiting.
Inclusion.
That is for all man.
Any how you turn, you not cripple in the bank. You not cripple for bank. Because not for the today, for we tomorrow one. And now they don't make it easy for we. They don't open in different way. Then we go make you back not go feel bad about your banking system at all. Then get keke account.
You look one confused me small. Then keke right there. Wait, say that they open accounts for them. Wait. Where they want to ride bike? Then totes man, they don't more lanky driver they all.
Yes.
They only open accounts for them.
Yes. Sometimes you want buy keke, you go and ride for party forever. You dey go put that small thing. Come up a keke account. They get the other account what they call Comra account. That for we then Comra them.
For we?
Yes. We then Comra them. So tell you picky don't put on school. That nurse give they help we let my people go. When reach now for go college, you not get money. Yeah. But that account will be open for I can just go and take you pay school fee.
When they talk about this Comra business, the Comra account where they go open. Well, you were not born now.
You dey still open accounts. Comra accounts, then give back that mandate where you open them. When you born to man, the pikin they can run back through that account there. So they don't make as you and now they don't open branch now bonds. Imagine how far they go now. That for make things easy for me and you too.
I better we can tell me, oh, hey, Sergeant Tenki. That my sister, the way we in picking they thief him money, the way they destroy that one day. And they go mad, they go tell her.
Local commercial bank, now make them make easy. They say tell you paddy, may go tell him paddy.
And they go tell her.
What you tell you so go you explain her. Life dey easy.
Commercial bank with Coquel. Commercial bank #1. Bank with Coquel.
5 minutes gone past 9 is the time from a studio clock, and now let's begin the show with the first news item. The Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, supported by the European Union and Irish Aid, has held a validation workshop on the revised anti-human trafficking legislation aimed at improving human trafficking legislations at the Hill Valley Hotel in Freetown. Let's have more in this report.
One of the key reasons we have not done so because we have not been very, very good at actually meeting the requirements of the legal requirement that we are supposed to do as a government. With the help of the MCCU, thank you very much for putting the pressure on us. We have actually worked very hard to make sure that we put the systems in place so that we can meet those criteria. Also, in terms of trafficking being one of the areas, we are on a tier 2 watch list, which means we're really not doing very well for our people. But the good news is we were at the risk of being degraded. That we work together, we continue supporting the government, particularly civil society, and of course the communities, because I can tell you, human trafficking does not happen in isolation. One person cannot get up one night and say, I am going to traffic. It's a chain work. But if we all work together, we can break that chain and we can make our people's life better, and particularly protect the children who are the children and the women who are in most cases most vulnerable of all.
That was eating into the very fabric of our socio-economic development and human resource growth. It was time for us to have a robust legal framework to help curb this wrongful act. Indeed, after several years of advocacy, the first legislation specifically targeting trafficking in persons was enacted in 2005. As an institution charged with the primary responsibility to protect life and property, the SLP collaborated with faith-based organizations and other interested partners in the fight against this disrespect of goods to human dignity in the shape of trafficking in persons. Special trainings were organized for police officers around the country to keep them abreast with the evils of trafficking and to prepare them better for investigation of this offense, which I would see was almost unknown to police investigations.
For me, this issue is a serious issue. It is serious to the point that we've had to invite our honorable members of parliament to come here today. Fortunately, all of them are not here, but the key ones are here, and I'm sure the others will join us shortly once the assignment in parliament is finished. I have put up a picture there for you to underscore the importance of what we're talking about. That man you see there is a man who was in detention in Libya. He was trafficked from this country. UN paid him a visit, and that is what you see in the background there, the conditions under which they were being held. Sits in a patch of light entering through one of only 2 windows as he tries to warm himself up at a detention center located in Libya in 2017, 1st February. At the time of UNICEF's visit, 160 men were being detained there. So just imagine 160 people in a room where there are only 2 windows. And that is the amount of light that comes into that room. That is what our brothers and sisters are going through.
All right, welcome back. This is the Star Good Morning Show here on Star TV channel 21. Now to my studio guest, I'll start off with Mohamed Lamraneba from the Strategic Communications Unit, Ministry of Information. Good morning again, Lamraneba.
Thank you.
Now let's start the discussion. First, give us updates on the ministry. What has been happening there?
Well, the ministry has been faring on very well. Of course, it's an establishment of government that basically promotes government policies. And of course, the ministry also has been able to actually ensure that it carries out its activities within the shortest possible time and rebrand most of the agencies that are under the ministry. For instance, NATCOM. We've all seen in the past months how NATCOM has been able to transform so far in terms of ensuring that the apparatus operating directly under NATCOM meets their obligations, statutory obligations and all of that. And of course ensure that they are in compliance with the rules and regulations governing their operations, like Airtel Orange, or I beg your pardon, Africell and other telecommunications network. And of course, also the Sierra Broadcasting Corporation. Of course, we've been seeing tremendous changes in terms of the outlook, in terms of productivity, in terms of acquiring more gadgets for them. And of course, also SALCAP has been doing very well. All these apparatus are directly supervised by the Ministry of Information. In terms of disseminating government policies, I think the minister, has been doing very well, alongside the strategic communications unit. So, on the nutshell, I think we're on the right trajectory to transform, especially the telecommunications sector in
What
the
about the
country.
fiber optic issue?
Fiber optic, of course, we inherited a whole lot of challenges as a government in that particular regard. You understand? So far, much really has not been done in that particular area, but we are actually working towards ensuring that we revive that particular through SALCAP to ensure that we expand on it, and of course also complete it, to be able to ensure that the issue of data and of course also internet productivity is also maximized, so that it can be accessible and of course also can be affordable. We are working on that. Like I said, there are huge challenges regarding funds, and of course, huge sum was allocated for that particular project under the previous administration. But we all know much really was not done in that particular regard. But we are actually monitoring it, looking at how we should expand it, and then ensure that it's materialized, so that it should be in the interest of all Sierra. Because what that does really, if we're able to ensure that we expand on it and make it a reality, it will help Sierra get easy access to internet, and of course also affordable ones. And of course it will also help us to across the county, because there are lines all over the county, and of course that will actually ensure that even if you're in the interior, internet productivity will not be a barrier to you also. So we are actually, ensuring, of course, the ministry, if you've been to the ministry, you've seen how transformative the ministry has been. And of
What are
course,
some of these transformations?
well, if you look at the renovation that is going on, I will tell you for sure that the Ministry of Information and Communications, as you building it has a very new facelift in terms of refurbishment, and of course also changing the face of that particular floor, 8th floor, and of course also the creation of the strategic communications unit has added so much value in ensuring that people, there's not much gap between the ministry and of course also the public in terms of information dissemination. And of course the newspaper, the government newspaper, has been revived also. It's coming out twice every week, and of course it's all, the website is also on. So there have been a whole lot of
Is there any projects undertaken by the ministry as of now?
well, basically, of course, the ministry provides supervisory role. The primary function of the ministry is to talk on behalf of government. So, and of course, all these telecommunications, and of course, NATCOM, SALCAP, and the Southern Broadcasting Corporation, and of course, the printing press, all these apparatus are directly supervised by the ministry and ensure that, they work within the mandate of their statute. So, so far, that has been our work. Of course, also propagating government policies and programs across the county, of course, not only Freetown. So basically, there are a whole lot of other projects that are also, for us to go digital. Of course, the digitalization of, television station is also on course. That is an ambitious project of the ministry, though we are yet to actually arrive at that, but we are working very, very close, to ensuring that, first of all television stations should go digital. And of course, so even if you are, out, or, you are not in county, you should be able to, sit wherever in the world, and of course look at, Star TV, AYV, and all of that. It should be a statutory provision that all TV stations should go digital. We are working on that assiduously. It has not been awarded. The contract has not been awarded yet. That is also something we are actually looking at, and of course moving forward. So there have been a whole lot of other activities that have been going on in the Ministry
Alright,
of
great,
Information.
awesome. Now let's
Of course, also the Thursday press conferences to actually ensure, it's continuing that we get people, to understand about, the different MDs, their activities, and of course we call journalists every Thursday at the ministry's press conference room to intimate journalists about government activities across MDs. That also is a laudable one that has been maintained.
All right. Now let's turn our attention to the much talked about issue of the day in Sierra Leone, the Lungi Bridge. We see the president tender process for the construction of bridge, and it has sparked a whole lot of debates among Sierra Leoneans in and out. But let's look at the importance and timeliness of the bridge. What's your take?
Well, of course, if you've been following social media, and of course, even our brothers on the other side, the members of the opposition, I have not seen a single person that have come out, clearly saying that or downplaying the significance of that particular bridge. Of course, that's exactly what we want to see as a country develop our indifferences or political, attachment. I think it behoves us as citizens to actually support the government, especially when the government is about to undertake such an ambitious project, to ensure that we connect the entire northern region to the capital, which is very, very significant. Of course, this has been a long-term dream for almost all our past leaders. Unfortunately, they've not been able to actually materialize it. For the current president, this was not part of his manifesto. He did not promise it, but fortunately, he is now working towards achieving it, which I think is a laudable thing. That's why he has been dubbed by several people that he talk less and do more. He's a talk and do president. The significance of the bridge, first of all, that bridge annually will create 5,350 jobs annual every year. It is estimated that the bridge, the construction of the bridge will last for like 4 to 6 years. So every year we are expected to actually see our brothers get employment close to 5,000, above 5,000 Sierra Leoneans will be employed annually. And I think that also is a huge economic benefit that will actually translate into our economy, because if we get 5,000 people employed annually, and of course they are paid at the end of every month, that will also translate because they will be buying goods from the market, and of course also that will help to boost our economy a little bit. And of course also what is significant about this particular bridge is the fact that there are still optional routes, you understand, because at the end of the day it bears no cost on government. You understand? Government is not going to spend a dime for the construction of the bridge. We are looking forward to potential investors that will come and invest their money, you understand, into the construction of the bridge. At the end of the day, they are going to ensure that they fund the expenditure by means of tolling it, you understand. After which, then it is also the infrastructure is also transferred to the government. Now, the bridge is also estimated to last, the lifespan of the bridge is also estimated to last for 120 years. And there is also an estimation or a projection that, the 1.8 or 2.1 billion, United States dollars will actually cost for the construction of the bridge, which potentially the investors will have to spend, will actually, they will actually use 18 to 20 years to get their money back, you understand? So in essence, assuming it is 20 years, we are going to have the next 100 years, warranty of the lifespan of the bridge, government constantly generating funds from that particular bridge, which will also help, to stimulate our economy. So this also is part of government's plans to diversify the economy.
People also have been questioning the cost and economic potential.
It has huge economic potential. Government is not going to construct every hotels. What that does also, it also will have to attract potential investors outside the investors that will be constructing the bridge, you understand, from abroad. Because if you look at the landscape of Lungi, you understand, if Lungi and Freetown is connected, obviously that will also trigger, it will actually attract investors to, for example, to go to Lungi and say, okay, we want to build a hotel here because the airport is there, and the access from Freetown to Lungi, it's now connected. You can just less than 10 minutes here in Lungi, or 15 minutes maximum, because you don't expect to have traffic, especially on the bridge, you understand. So it will attract several, potential opportunities, especially in the capital, and of course also in the north, in the entire northern region. Now we also have vehicles plying the routes of this Mashaka to Lungi, you understand, or Pukloko. that also will have to attract, will make it very easier for passengers from Freetown to Guinea. You understand? It will also help them because it's very very short from here to with the bridge. You understand? Because it also has alternative means also. If you think you cannot pay the toll, you understand, the seabird is still there, the coach is still there, Pelicat is still there, the ferries are still there, the boats are still there, even the Mashaka road is still there, so it's optional, you understand. So if you are asking, about the economic benefit, I think, the significance of that particular bridge cannot be overemphasized. We need it, you understand, and I think it will actually boost our economy, it will create jobs, and the feet, it has to be 60 meters tall because it will enable also vessels to actually pass under the bridge for potential clash and all of that, understand. So it will also have a potential light system for those vehicles that will apply the bridge at night. So if you look at the model, and of course it's a three-way, 6-lane, three-way, three lane each. So what was the estimate? What was the thinking of the people that did the feasibility studies? They projected the population increase in 50 years from now. So assuming if our population increase in 50 years from now, what that does also, it will accommodate our population at that time because it's not a one way. You understand? So it's a 3-lane bridge either side. So it's a 6-lane. The much talked about bridge that connects Gambia and Senegal, for instance, it's a one way. It's a one way each bridge. It connects, and of course we've all seen over the years how it has actually ensured that it's impacted their economies, both countries, because they needed each other, like Sierra Leone and Guinea, for instance. You understand? We have a lot of goods that we produce here, and of course travel them to Guinea and sell them, and of course return with the money back. Similarly to Guinea, so that has actually helped Gambia and Senegal so much. So we are equally so anticipating the same for the entire northern region. We have agricultural activities that are ongoing there. Of course, we all know how difficult it is to actually get to Freetown, but with the bridge, I think all those challenges will actually be
there's also
addressed.
this comparison with the Mamama airport and this proposed construction of the Lungi Bridge, and the people have been saying the Mamama airport was condemned as bad investment. So do you think this costly bridge is a better investment?
No, there's a huge distinction between the two. You understand? The Mamama airport will have been a debt on the government. You understand? The Chinese investors, you understand, will have constructed that particular Mamama on the cost of the government, because at the end of the day, the government, it's a debt on the government that the government will be paid probably for the next 50 years. But for this one, that is a difference that is a financing model. You understand? This particular bridge, the government is not a debt on the government. The government is not going to spend anything except probably for statutory tax waivers for the importation of their equipment to actually go ahead with the construction, except probably, you understand, for that. But save for that, the government is not going to spend, and it's not a debt on the government at all. The investors are going to spend their money, use it, get their money, and go back home and transfer the infrastructure to the government. So that is a distinction. The Mamama airport will have been a burden, you understand. Of course, you remember previously in the last 1 year when the president was talking about us incurring, as a government, huge amount of external debt, and of course also local debt to local contractors. These were the type of contracts the previous governments used to enter into, on behalf of the government. You understand? So like for this one now, it is not a debt on Sierra Leone at all. The investors are going to use their money, construct the bridge, toll it. At the end of the day, when they get their money back, they hand over the bridge. So it's not a debt on the government at all.
Is there going to be a guarantee of trust from the part of the government to the potential investors?
Which guarantee?
Like, so that they can believe that what we're signing, we are going to keep to our own agreement.
Sure, that's why that was for us to actually showcase to the world that the feasibility studies done has proved that yes, indeed, we will be able to construct a bridge. The construction of the Lungi Bridge is feasible, because you have to determine that first, whether it is feasible really for you to construct such a bridge because it's an 8 kilometer, it still will be long, you understand? So you have to do a feasibility studies first, and that has been done. So what the government did on that particular day was to actually say, okay, we now have this opportunity, the construction of the Lungi Bridge is feasible, so we now want to encourage people, potential investors, to come and bid. So once the bidding process is completed, you understand, from the potential investors, the government will now look at those bids, you understand, and determine based on their benchmarks, their track records, their capacity to do the bridge, and of course compare and contrast the various bids and look at what best suits Sierra Leone at this particular time, you understand, and now the contract will be awarded. So this project is also expected to last probably till late September this year, you understand. Maybe after September we will see the start of the construction of Lungi Bridge, and of course also it's going to connect from Government Wharf, which according to the survey done, that Government Wharf will actually be the best place, for the landing, you understand, to Lungi, because in the eastern part, all in the east is very congested, and if the bridge is constructed, it will have to attract more vehicles flying that particular route because of the connection between Lungi and Freetown. So we also want to see where that will also serve as benefit to the coastal lines. Of course, there are several villages along the coastal line, so it will also help to boost those little communities along the coast. So that's why it's actually going to land at Government Wharf. So it will also connect the city directly and Lungi.
The president did said it will be of no cost to Sierra Leoneans, but people are thinking about these investors will be pouring in a whole lot of money and they all want their profits back. So will that not be too much on Sierra Leoneans in terms of them collecting fees from toll and making it so huge that it will be a burden for Sierra Leoneans?
First of all, let us look at the intention. Let us look at the economic benefit. Let us look at the impact it will have, in our lives, you understand, before, or rather than looking at it from that perspective. Because as it is at the moment, we are engaged in several other activities that are really not beneficial, you understand, to the life of Sierra Leoneans. So for us as a government, we think it is prudent, we think it will increase and boost our economy, we think it is viable. Let me tell you the implications. Before now, several investors have been running away or shying away from coming to Sierra Leone because Sierra Leone is the only country, when you land on flights, you understand, you have to go through, 2 hours drive to connect to the city, or use water to cross to come to the main city. So we want to bridge that particular gap. That will also attract more investors coming in. It will also boost our tourism sector. You understand? We'll have to see more tourists coming because they now know that from Lungi, where is the landing site, you understand, on flight to Freetown, you can just use 10 minutes to cross, and you can use your vehicle. You understand? So let us look at the gains, the benefits, rather than looking at it. Well, yes, we are happy that now it is not because we don't have such amount, at this particular time, because there are a whole lot of other issues we are looking at. Of course, free education is there, supporting budgets to MDs, budget support to MDs, and all of that, understand, payments of so the police, the military, blah blah blah, as the case may be, civil servant at the end of every month. And if you look at our revenue generation as a country, we've only relied in the past years on the revenue generation, NRA taxation. You understand? So we are looking at how we should be able to diversify our potential in revenue generation, because that's the only sustainable means we'll have to actually move this country forward. If not, we'll continue to rely on donors, year in, year out. But this government is actually looking on expanding on agriculture, expanding on tourism, and of course also the fisheries sector. And we have done tremendously well in those areas. Last year, 2018, the fisheries sector was the third largest contributing sector financially towards the consolidated fund in terms of revenue generation. And of course, it's as a result of the massive, restructuring that has been going on there in the last year or so, you understand. So we are focusing on sustainable means of generating revenue to undertake or provide service delivery for our people, because Lungi Bridge is one that we think will actually contribute immensely to our economy and contribute immensely to the revenue generation.
Before I come to my other studio guests now, 1.8 billion, it's a huge money, and it is the budget for the bridge. Do you think potential investors will find this attractive to pour in their money?
Well, that is a significant question. We are hopeful. We are hopeful that we'll actually have investors to come in and help us. Understand? Because if you like here, I agree with you. It's a very huge amount, and of course, investors who want to look at the viability of the bridge. Of course, take several things into consideration, because they want to get their money back and, of course, also make profit. That is natural, I understand, but we are hopeful because on that particular day, we had up to 5 different companies, potential investors that have already expressed interest, in bidding for the construction of the bridge from Asia and, of course, also Europe. They were there, they were present. So, but for now, we cannot say, we have already sure that now that we have entered into or will get one, but we are hopeful that we will actually have potential investor that the contract will be awarded to for the construction
Find
of the bridge.
it attractive enough. That will be good for us all. All right, continue to stay with me. Is Mohamed Lamran Abba is from the Strategic Communication Unit, Ministry of Information. Now let's go to another issue. With me again is Alfred Maker Bendu from the National Youth Caucus. He's here to talk to us about the upcoming events, the Sierra Leone Brain Box competition. Good morning again, Alfred.
Yeah, good morning.
First, your organization, National Youth Caucus, tell us about it.
Okay, National Youth Caucus is a youth-led agency. We call it as an agency because we believe in there's a difference between organization and agency. An agency is a platform wherein you try to move people from where they are to where they want to go. We are here to make a change, and we have been doing it in our own little way. We have ambassadors, we have members that have been really helping us tremendously in doing things.
Okay. Now, this your event, the Sierra Leone Brain Box competition. What's the initiative all about?
Sierra Brain Box competition.
Sierra Brain Box. Okay.
Sierra Brain Box competition, we decided to name it that way because we believe that the problem affecting us, Sierra Leone in specific, we like to really imitate others. We have the Sierra Idol, we have the Sierra Leone God Talent, we have the Sierra Spelling Bee and others. It's really kind of very bad for us because if you really look at things, those creating these things like the British Got Talent, they were the one that really started this, you understand, and people have been copying this from everywhere. Nowhere in Africa have really created their own idea and say, okay, let's start ours and others might like to copy from us. So as an organization, we believe in creating an idea, we believe in making a change, people to follow, you understand. So we decide to make it a Sierra Brain Box. We are in people we really think about what it means brain box, creating something out of the box, you understand.
People being creative.
Yes. So Sierra Brain Box is for now. The first one we are doing is really a public speaking and a quiz competition. As an organization, we have sat down and realized that no other organization has really come about to discuss about civic education in Sierra Leone. People have debates, spellings and all that on sexual intercourse and sexual violence and all that thing. But we really don't know actually what is really disturbing us. All those things can stop if we really make our mind to understand our civic rights. You understand? Creating the idea will make people to say, okay, I will not do that. I will try to work on this now. I will stop that. If you really try to tell someone that someone give him the book to read and know that, oh, so if I have sex with someone, this is my punishment, you understand? That person will be afraid. The gentleman here spoke about calling journalists and all that, telling them about the importance of what MD is. It's part of our quiz competition because civic education is a backbone. We have been talking with the National Council for Civic Education to partner with us in this program, and they are really open up to do that. And we want to bring this understanding because if we try to know where you are coming from, you can go where you know where exactly you are going. You cannot make a change in a country without trying to tell the people where they are coming from. That is why we brought two things: the history and civic education. You cannot talk about civic education without talking about your history. You cannot talk about history without talking about civic education. So as an organization, believe that giving the chance to people to go out and search about what is really my right as a citizen will help change the nation as a whole.
Okay, so how do you do your selection for the competition?
We went to schools. We wrote some letters to schools, all schools. Most of the school responded, and most of the school students were like, I want to really partake, but I'm not part of the L&DS. I'm not part of this. I'm not part of this. Then we said, okay, if people want to partake in this competition, let's make it an open competition. We made an open competition and allow everybody to register, to apply free of cost, and you should be, at least for now, you should be below from 23 and below. We did the registration, people applied, so many people applied, but because of we are just starting, we don't really have sponsors. People really don't. We wrote some sponsors, but like, see, people believe in entertainment more than education. So like, we as an organization and with my executive, we started and said no, not because of we wrote this and people really, only few like Crooked Commercial Bank really help us, and they really believe in education.
Did you contact the education ministry?
Yeah, we went there. They said they cannot help us. So like, but we still stood on our foot and said, okay, we are going to do something. We decided to contribute our little money we have. We wrote some letters to people that believe that can help and that believe in education, that can change the life of people through education. And we wrote some letters and they help us. That have been the way we really decide to make the things. And by the grace of God, next week, Saturday the 29th, will be the day at CCSL Hall.
So how many competitors?
For now, it's 40.
From which schools?
All across schools, colleges, IFAM, FBC, I'm in Mitimangai, Commerce, and more than 10 schools. And we even try to take people from Becker classes, because we want, in as much as government is trying to write a curriculum about civic education, we give them chance to at least study, to make a public speaking. We are in the council representative will be there. They will try to take notes, because we believe that debate, we wanted to make a debate, but I said debate really is limit people. Debate, you always concord or you reject, you understand? Like my colleague said, whereas in public speaking, we give people chance to say anything they want to say, you understand? We give a chance to people that, okay, civic education is important, write a topic on it. We gave them the topic, write what you think is good, go on that day, say what you want to say, what you think is perfect as a citizen, what is perfect for the development of this country through your civic understanding. And the quiz also, we told them to go and read a lot about the MDAs, citizenship, in conflicts, and so many other things that is really good for the country.
Most times, public speaking, it is a problem for so many people. So many people are not aware of so many issues, and they can't publicly talk on it. They can't publicly debate on it. What do you think? How do you think this competition will impact youth students who will be taking part in the competition?
In our registration form, there is a section where we ask what are their reasons for them to be part of this competition. Many of them say, okay, these have been my dream. I want to see what is good. I want to express myself. Some say, most of the people from the JSS level, their parents were like, I just want my child to start from here. I just want my child to start from here. And this civic education came from an experience I got through. I went somewhere that would have changed my life. I'm a science student. I studied a lot of math and other stuff. I was like, okay, they're going to ask me about math and more of other things, because math is really my subject. And I went there. The simple question they asked me, they took out the 10,000 paper and they were asking me, what is the meaning of this on the constitution? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? And the man was asking me, what is this? What is it? I was like, wow, I'm a science student. This is not my. The man said, how can I give you this if you don't know about your country? How are you going to change? How are you going to obey hours when you go to where you want to go? I was like, well, I'm a science student now. And the man said, no, we just can't help you now. Because you, as a citizen, it's your right to know your civic right. People like we are like, oh, this is not my thing. I'm a science student. I'm at IPAM. This is, if I want to know about my country, I would have done what? History. But it's really the backbone of every development in a country. For us to make a change, if the president, I'm really impressed with the National Council of Civic Education, because that is really the backbone of every nation. If we try to really understand, create this idea in people like, I quote, the ground too dry, we stop. Because like, it's not a responsibility for, as an organization, we believe that it's not a responsibility for a president to be responsible for everybody, but it's a responsibility as a citizen to be responsible for your country. So like, this is the thing people don't really try to understand. Like, there's a difference between what you can do for your country and what your country can do for you. People try to say, okay, my country needs to do more than what I can do. But as an organization, that is why this year Brain Box competition is very, very important, because things that you ought to know, you will be there and say, hey, I thought I knew this one. So we are encouraging everybody as a citizen to go there on that day and really know exactly things that they think they already know.
Okay, it's Alfred Bendo from the National Youth Caucus talking about their upcoming events, the Sierra Brain Box competition. Quickly, let's take another news item before I come back to Lamrane. Now, the Director of Legal Affairs Financial Intelligence Unit, lawyer Abdallah Sisse, has said that the country stands to benefit hugely from its international investment portfolio, given the favorable outcome of the mutual evaluation process. I spoke to my colleague Abdul Rahman Kamara in this interview when he visited our studios.
First of all, we have to know that we are a member state of the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, and it is summarized in the acronym JABA. JABA is a French acronym. I hope you will not ask me to speak French.
I will not.
And we're a member of that organization, and it is meant to coordinate, to combine efforts in the battle against money laundering and also terrorism financing, and to ensure that member states implement fully or comply with the FATF recommendations, FATF 40 consolidated recommendations on the prevention of money laundering and terrorism financing, especially that which has to do with reporting entities. So the mutual evaluation simply means experts from member states on a periodic basis carry out an assessment of how far a country has gone in implementing the preventive measures against money laundering and terrorism financing. I mean, using FATF recommendations as a benchmark. A number of countries have been assessed, and this year is for Sierra Leone to be assessed by our peers. It's a kind of a peer review mechanism to see how far we have gone in technical compliance as well as effective compliance. That's basically what mutual evaluation means. Self-assessment is actually a bit different, right? Self-assessment, you do it internally for the consumption of the local authorities or the national authorities. But this one now is actually a provision under Articles 13 and 14 of the JABA statute revised in 2012 to ensure that countries are assessed, by their peers. You have experts from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Senegal, from other countries that are members of JABA, and some other international partners, to just come and see how far we have gone in implementing these preventive measures of money laundering and terrorism financing. The FIU is not a one-stop shop, because the AML-CFT regime, the anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism regime, is a multi-stakeholder project, right? You have a lot of other institutions that must play their own role effectively for us to succeed you have the police, you have the law officers department, you have the anti-corruption commission, you have the CISU, the Central Intelligence and Security Unit, and all other security, intelligence, and law enforcement agencies in the country must play their own role effectively. So when we combine our effort together, we're going to produce a result. FIU is actually, by its nature, is a coordinating body. It's there to coordinate the efforts of other law enforcement agencies. We are the national correspondent. The director of FIU is the national correspondent who actually responds to international queries on what is going on within the anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism regime in Sierra Leone. So you'll have to report on progress, what happens in not only within the FIU, but what happens in other entities, law enforcement agencies, vis-a-vis the preventive measures to money laundering and terrorism financing. The essence of the assessment essentially is to know what not only the FIU but what other law enforcement entities have done, how far they have gone, or how far they have played their role to make sure that this regime is effective. That is the essence of the assessment. It's a national assessment. It's not limited within the FIU, but other law enforcement agencies will be contacted, they will be visited, they will be even visiting other reporting entities to see how far our efforts combined together have produced results with respect to AMLCFT. Essentially, the mutual evaluation looks for two things, basically, just two. They will look for technical compliance and effective compliance. Technical compliance is going to look at the legal structure, the legal regime. We have the laws do we have the laws in place? Do we have the administrative structures in place to make sure that the regime works? That's what is called technical compliance. Because if you don't have the law, essentially you cannot work properly. So you're going to look at our laws, the laws we have, whether these laws are robust enough or they are sufficient to have, a results-oriented AMLCFT regime. That is technical compliance. That's what they're coming to look for. The second ambit of it is what you call effective compliance. Effective compliance simply means now you have the laws, you have these administrative structures, but where are the results? Have you implemented? Because there's a difference between having a law and having it being implemented. You can have a law if you don't enforce it, you don't implement it, it is as good as anything on paper. So that's a very important aspect that we'll be looking at and see whether we have the laws first. Second, whether this law that we have are actually being enforced or implemented in practice.
That was Abdallah Sise from the Financial Intelligence Unit, ending that interview with my colleague Abdul Rahman Kamara. And you're still watching the Star Good Morning Show here on Star TV. Now, let me come back to Mohamed Lamran Abba. We're still on this much talked about debate about the Lungi Bridge. Now, Lamana, we've seen successive governments come and gone with promises of constructing Lungi Bridge, but nothing happened. Does this government has the political will, the courage to let this happen, or would it be another campaign strategy?
Well, it depends to the angle one wants to look at it. But I think if one wants to actually look at it from an independent and a patriotic, perspective, first of all, you want to, ask yourself: did the government promise that we are going to construct the Lungi Bridge during the campaigns? 1 year after the election, we have actually exhibited huge commitment. First of all, by even putting together that team of experts. We have seasoned, engineers who are part of that particular team, both home, locally and international civil engineers. From, we have civil engineers, we have, engineers that are experts in graphic design, some, to discuss the financial implications of the bridge. And, it was a very solid team, headed by Dr. Tambi, who is the head of infrastructure, advising the president on infrastructure. So by putting that team together in the last 1 year, doing that particular hectic job, and of course we've all seen the report, and of course we've been seeing excerpts of the report also on social media, how the bridge will look like, and all of them, it's a clear indication that the government is really serious about the construction of the bridge, you understand? So the government would not want to put such a team together, spend such an amount to actually get that feasibility studies done, and of course launch it in a press conference that we're now opening the doors of the government to encourage bids, from potential investors, then one will want to say it's a political gimmick. I think that would be disingenuous on anyone's part, to think that particular, because we never promise it, but we think that it's important as a county and as a government. The northern region, especially Lungi and Port Loko, deserves better. I think we need to actually put an end, to this segregation of, concentrating development across the county. What used to happen in the past, where you see, if you look at so far what has been done in the last 1 year, the construction of the Lingi Bridge, the president originally hails from the south, but the construction of the Lingi Bridge was never thought of because we are, the president is from the south, or probably most people that are supporting, the current government are from the southeast. So we should take, this development to the southeast. If you look at the 3 massive hydro dams, that are to be constructed within the Sewa River, for that particular project will also help to boost our energy sector. You understand? You look at the Magbang Bridge at the moment, that is ongoing. You look at the Roberi Bridge, that is ongoing. You look at the expansion of Juba Bridge. You understand? Of course, also the Atlantic Road, to actually lessen the traffic along the axis of Lumley, Wilkinson, and Godrich. You understand? You really come to realization that it is the development so far we've been actually concentrating are decentralized across the county. You understand? The free quality education, whether you are from the north, whether you are from the south, east, whether you are Limba, Fula, Minde, Local, Limba, whatever it is, you understand? You have to benefit from it. So this is the type of vision and developmental trajectory this particular government and administration is actually focusing on. We decentralize across the county, and where everybody will feel belong and not feel left out, because probably whether you voted for the president or not, the president is the president for the Republic of Sierra Leone. So even once we want to concentrate development, we actually ensure that we do it evenly, and everybody will feel part of the process, and nobody will feel left out. So that has been the vision of the president, and we're working towards that. Less than 1 year, we think we've achieved a lot moving forward, and we think in the coming years, leading to 2023, we are hopeful and poised. We have actually succeeded in transforming, also rebranding the image of Sierra Leone internationally, because before now, investors were pulling out of the county. We also, IMF pulled out, and of course, because of how things were going on, I don't want to go back to that, because some people want to perceive it as being political. But we also what happened, you understand? But what the government has also succeeded to do is that we have succeeded to rebrand the image of Sierra Leone internationally. All the visitations of the president abroad is geared towards transforming the image, assuring investors that Sierra Leone, we have the enabling environment to come and invest. We have our land, and of course our environment is conducive. We are committed to fight corruption. In the history of this country, we have never seen such a commitment, from any government so far in the fight against corruption.
Talking
like what
about fight against
we've witnessed in the last 1 year.
We saw the ACC boys presenting another tranche of stolen funds to the president. What does that mean for us as a nation in the fight against corruption?
Well, first of all, when the president was campaigning, he declared 3 words. The one that I actually want to talk on, which I will predicate my submissions on, is the war against corruption. You understand? And that particular war, we've seen over the past years, in my own view and opinion, I think what has been lacking, we have very strong laws in the ECC Act, you understand? The ECC has enormous powers, you understand, to investigate and ensure that they bring corrupt people to book, you understand? But what has been lacking is the political will, and that is exactly what we've seen so far in the last 1 year. That the ACC boss has the free will to go on and carry out his activities as a commissioner, you understand? So and we've seen what that has done for us. It has yielded enormous dividend by recovering a huge amount of stolen funds, that we are actually meant to better the lives of ordinary Sierra Leoneans, understand? And that what that has done for us also is that we have set the bar very high, that we should not actually continue to celebrate thieves in this country. We should not celebrate people who are infringing or their activities impinge on our growth as a nation. Because if a particular amount is being set aside and given to you to carry out a particular project that will better the lives of people, and at the end of the day, that particular project does not actually reach the targeted beneficiaries, and only the few, and you are protected probably by political, cohorts. You understand? So we think that is actually not proper. That narrative should change. So what we have done so far is to set the bar high, not even for those that are now investigated, but even for those that are now in power, because it is naturally this government will not remain in power forever, and those that are currently given the opportunity to serve, you understand, will have it at the back of their mind that one day when they are not there, they might be called to book to answer for their stewardship. So it's a huge commitment, and 16 billion loans in 1 year is huge amount of money. And the projection of the ACC boss, you know, so in the next 1 year, that particular amount will actually reach to 20 billion. You understand? Because there are pending cases they are investigating at the moment, and more people are coming in to enter into a plea bargaining chip.
Before we round up,
with
those
the
money is given to the president. What have they been used?
Well, no, nothing has been done so far with the 16 billion. But the president, of course, when the first tranche of 7.5 billion was presented to the president, he actually did make a commitment that we are going to construct a state-of-the-art diagnostic center. You understand? Because we all know how significant that is exactly to our health sector. You know, common diagnostic, you know, symptoms we don't diagnose in this particular country, where people have to travel from here to Ghana to go and actually do, you know, simple, you know, diagnostic to actually determine what is wrong with you. You understand? That is a challenge for us. So the government is committed to ensure that we also construct that particular infrastructure. It's huge, and we are committed, and most of the funds that have been recovered so far are going to be concentrated to the construction of that particular diagnostic center in the country.
What will be your ending notes quickly?
Well, quickly, we, especially for the Lungi Bridge and all other developmental activities that this government has embarked on in the last year or so, we are craving indulgence of Sierra Leoneans for them to continue to support. You understand? Whatever the government does now, it will be in the interest of Sierra Leone, not for the president or those that are serving. Because at the end of the day, the president will leave, and of course, whatever developmental activities we are embarking on now, we'll have to leave. We have to be there for the people of this country, and whichever government that will take over, you know, later. You understand? So, you know, it's high time we forget about, you know, politics. It's high time we actually support, you know, the current government to succeed, because at the end of the day, it will be beneficial to all of us, not the few people that are currently serving.
All right, it's one Sierra Leone. Thank you so very much. Is Mohamed Lamran from the Strategic Communication Unit, Ministry of Information and Communication. Quickly, Alfred, remind viewers about the time and venue for the competition.
Okay, the competition is going to hold on the 29th this month, June, that is next week, at 12 o'clock at CCSL Hall.
Is it free? Is there going to be a fee?
No, due to there is going to be refreshment, so it's not free. Because
so what's the price for the tickets?
25,000.
Where can viewers get it?
For now, the ticket has already finished, but on that day, those that want to go,
it will be at the gate.
Yeah, and we are encouraging parents and those that think that they know more about themselves in Sierra Leone, those that know that they have been deprived, you know, can really go and exactly know where they stand. It's our right to know our right. It's our right to know everything we ought to know as a citizen. Not everybody in Sierra Leone even have their constitution in their hand, in their phones also.
So at the end of the competition, are you going to present prizes for the winners?
Yeah, that is why we are even selling out tickets.
Okay.
Because like we are a sponsor, and with the help of the National Council and Roque, we will be giving prizes for the winner for the quiz competition, and to the winner for the public speaking and the runners up.
Alright, so quickly, what message would you like to pass on to your fellow youths?
Citizen of Sierra Leone, I think is the right time for us to make a change, especially to the youth. It's hard time, you know, youth nowadays, so now they have job or other thing in colleges, they say, but I'm not part of everything. So until they try to move faster, we can make a change if we are ready to make a change. So I'm encouraging you all, parents, encourage your children to please go that day and listen to what is important for them. It's our future. Let's make a count on it.
All right, thank you. I wish you all the best days. Alfred Mika Bendo from the National Youth Caucus, talking to us about their upcoming event, the Sierra Brainbox competition. And it's the weekend, I'm happy. That's how we end the show for this week. Join another presenter on Monday for another edition of the Star Good Morning Show. Thank you so very much for being part of the show throughout this week. And we do apologize for not bringing the show yesterday due to some fraud. Till then, I am Leonora Jawara. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Leaving you with our African proverb. It says, if beard signified intelligence, the goat would have been a genius. Stay blessed.